Stop trying to build the business you think you should build. Remember my stand on all this shoulding. Build the one that fits your actual lifestyle, not the fantasy one where you have 40 hours a week and unlimited childcare. Honor your current season and design around it. Hey dreamers, welcome back to the Dream in Action podcast, the podcast where dreams are encouraged and action is always celebrated. I'm your host, Tee Ari, transformational coach, your dream doula, and your resident hype woman for all things midlife magic. As a woman in her 40s, I'm beginning to experience some of what this new season of life brings, aka perimenopause, for those who know. And this shows up differently for different women, from brain fog to sleepless nights to aches and pains that just seem to come from nowhere. For me, it is the incessant hot flushes that I'm finding ways to manage now, thanks to a very supportive community. The reason I bring this up is while going through this transition, the mere thought of adding something that looks like a side hustle for some of us is absolutely crazy, right? But for others, it has triggered a desire, or better still, an urgency for more. Now, this is the woman I'm speaking to today. You have probably had a long-standing career that you probably loved once, but this career is now beginning to feel a little lackluster. But you do not want to, or maybe are not even in a position to quit that career just yet. So to you, I ask, what if instead of going viral on TikTok or building a six-figure business in 6 minutes, and again, not saying you shouldn't build a six-figure business. In fact, I highly recommend that be a goal, because why not? But what if what you were building was a simple, aligned, age-appropriate side business or activity that paid you good supplementary income regularly? And the key word there being regularly. Yep, that's what we're going to be looking at today. Now, you guys know I'm all about alignment and not burnout. And for us women in our 40s, 50s, and beyond that are likely juggling a 9 to 5, raising teens and older, caring for aging parents, or sometimes all three all at once, we're usually just trying to build something that makes sense for our lives right now. So we need a whole different kind of strategy, one that respects the season we're in right now, honors our energy, and still gives us room to grow. Because we in these parts, we like to grow. We're going to get really practical in this episode, guys, because I'm sharing 5 tried and tested side hustles that are not only very doable without too much of a barrier to entry, but are most especially age appropriate. So let's get to it. My name is Tee Ari, and this is the Dream in Action podcast.
Have you ever felt like you were just existing, not truly living? Like you were made for more, but somehow life got in the way? Hey, I'm Tee Ari, your host, transformational coach, and dream doula. Welcome to Dream in Action, the podcast where we don't just talk about dreams, we bring them to life. For years, I nurtured others, first as my mom's oldest child, then as a mother myself. And then somewhere along the way, I lost me, stuck in autopilot. But I was never able to shake the fact that my mom passed away at just 42, full of unfulfilled dreams. And I knew I couldn't keep waiting. So I embraced the stretch, took action, and found opportunities in places I never expected. Now, I help women over 40 do the same. Stop waiting, start dreaming, and take bold action. If you're ready to go from feeling stuck to building something meaningful, you're in the right place. This is Dream in Action.
So why start a side hustle right now at this age, right? Well, Do you know that the data shows that almost 40% of Brits, that is 2 in 5 Brits, now have at least one side hustle earning an average of £900 per month? And almost half of UK adults, that's 47% to be precise, are considering launching a side hustle or a business in 2025. And that is up 12% from the previous year. So there's apparently something to be said about side hustles, and I really don't want you to miss out. Now, just to be clear, I use the word side hustle even though I don't completely agree with the term. I use it because it is the most familiar and probably most used phrase for explaining something that makes you money on the side while you have a main source of income. But I do not particularly like the word. I won't go into too much detail as to why, because I don't think it's important and I don't want it to derail us from the conversation that we're having today. But in a nutshell, the phrase just gives me suffering and struggles vibes. I also know that some people hear the word side hustle and immediately think burnout or late nights, pyramid schemes on Facebook, which could very well be the case for some people. But I'd like us to reframe that for this episode. To me, a side hustle is just another way of saying side purpose or side project, a sacred little space that you created that belongs to you. Okay? But for the purpose of this episode, we will go with side hustle. So why should you have a side hustle? Now, there are many reasons that I could go into, but let me give you just 3. Let's start with the most obvious. Number 1, a single income is no longer enough. Let's be real. In this economy, relying on one income source feels like putting all your eggs in one basket that has a dodgy handle. A side hustle in today's economy has become your plan B, C, and D. It's a way of creating financial breathing room and opening doors to financial freedom or a work optional life early. It could also mean paying off that pesky debt early or saving for something that is in your dream bucket list. Number 2, the time for burning everything to the ground like you did in your 20s has passed. That used to be me, by the way. But in this season that we're in, this is the time for growth. A side hustle is a great way of dipping your toe and testing the waters before fully committing. And then lastly, number 3, your side hustle could be the outlet you didn't know you even needed. Look, by 40, you have accumulated wisdom and skills and stories, but chances are much of that has been tucked away behind a job title or family roles. A side hustle gives you space to dust off the parts of you that got buried, to use your voice, to give expression to your creativity, your empathy, your fire. Not likes or even validation, but because it is deeply satisfying to build something that is yours. And let's be real, for many of us, our 9 to 5 just isn't cutting it anymore. It may be paying the bills, but it's not fueling the fire. That doesn't mean you need to quit tomorrow. In fact, having experienced what it is like to leave your 9 to 5 several times in my working career, your 9 to 5 can be a much needed safety net. When you are 22, it doesn't really matter much. But in your 40s and beyond, you are in a completely different phase of your life. And if you haven't already grown or exited a business, then having a safety net is wise, in my opinion. But if your soul is craving more meaning, more freedom, or even just more money without begging for a raise, then a side hustle might just be exactly what the doctor ordered. Okay, before I give you the 5 side hustles that I curated for you in this episode, let's talk about this term, age appropriate. Now, before you roll your eyes, I'm not saying we can't do anything that the younger generation are doing. What I'm saying is we are playing a different game. So what does age appropriate mean when it comes to side hustles? Number one, it fits your life. My dear, we've got responsibilities, people to look after, maybe even a full-time job. This side hustle has to flex with your rhythm, not fight with it. Number two, it honors your energy. We're not pulling all-nighters anymore. And yes, as someone who did pull many an all-nighter, I can tell you this. That is something that gets harder the older you get. You're not 25 anymore and running on Monster energy drinks. You want something that is sustainable. And then lastly, number three, it aligns with your values and creativity. It should light you up, even if it's a little bit. It should make you proud. Does that sound good? All right, then let's get practical. Here are 5 age appropriate side hustle ideas that could work for women over 40. And yes, they actually work. I personally handpicked these specifically because I have either tried them or personally know people who do them, and most importantly, have been successful in them. Plus, they won't run you to the ground. Okay, side hustle number one, sell what you know. I'm talking online courses, workshops, guides, coaching, consulting, or even private practice, especially if you're in those careers like psychotherapy, law, or architecture. You get to choose the container. What is something people always ask your advice on? Could it be navigating menopause naturally? Because we talked about menopause in the beginning. Could it be styling their wardrobe? Could it be planning low budget or beautiful holidays? Could it be something like breastfeeding or helping your child through eczema? Package that, record it simply, and then sell it. Bonus points if it is something you already do in your 9 to 5. Like one of my dear friends, for instance, held a paid masterclass teaching people how to create stunning videos and bring their creative ideas to life because it was her area of expertise. If selling your expertise feels a little too daunting, even though you guys know I highly recommend learning how to sell, then try online freelancing platforms. Even though I don't always recommend them, I have made money from them, and I personally know folks who have made full-time incomes from them. Listen to my interview with Claudia Mack back in episode 6. Now, she was making a full-time income from Fiverr back then, selling copy editing services like I was, though I didn't make anywhere close to what she was making. Personally, I had more success with, believe it or not, singing. So my husband also and I would provide vocals to producers or rappers who needed singing vocals for their music. Fun fact, one of our highest paying gigs at the time was singing a song on behalf of Cats in Love. Yeah, true story. I promise it works. You don't need to go full influencer, trust me. You just need to be helpful and visible. Now, hustle number 2, create content. I was having an argument with someone not too long ago, and he did not believe me when I said that creating content has become a very viable way of making a good income in today's markets. You can start a podcast, you can have a blog, you can create a YouTube channel, or all three, as is the case these days. I'm so glad that we live in a time where creating content has actually become a truly viable way of making a side income. How blessed are we to have platforms that will actually pay us to create content? Okay, yes, I know it is a win-win because they are gaining something too, right? Because you are putting all this content on their platforms. But isn't that the best of situations when you win and I win? Please don't believe the lie that the space is crowded. Yes, granted, depending on what niche you're in, it can be slow growth, like I admit it is for me right now. But again, I know this stuff works because I see it work for peers around me. If you can patiently wait through the slow start and be consistent, it will pay you in cash dividends in the long run. Trust me. Hustle number 3, tutoring and or teaching online. Now, this one is closely related to hustle number one, but your clientele here are likely parents of children who need academic or vocational help. Bonus points if you're already a teacher or an ex-teacher. But even if you aren't a teacher, if you were schooled to, say, degree level, or you have a lot of experience in a field, this could work for you. Guys, I home educate my youngest right now, and I pay teachers to teach him online. We also pay for piano and drum lessons. So think, what is a subject you are good at that you could teach to kids? Or perhaps something you can be good at if you just prepare a little. After all, an expert is simply a person who is only a few steps ahead of you. Again, if you're stumped on how to find clients, which is usually the bane of freelancing, use online marketplaces like Outschool or Superprof, or look in your network. If it is teachable, then it is marketable. Hustle number four, food catering for events. Think weddings, baby showers, church events, and even funerals. I absolutely love this one because there's so much you can do in this space. Plus, people always need food. This is not one I admittedly have tried or even intend to try because cooking is not my thing. But if you love cooking and you're good at it, this one might just be for you. And guess what? It doesn't even have to be events per se. There are certain foods I personally request catering for because I either can't cook them well enough or can't be bothered to cook them. Now, if you're observant, you may have identified a trend in these last two side hustles I just shared with you. And it is this. If you're a customer of that service, then it could potentially be a side hustle for you. Now, onto side hustle number five. This one is a product hustle and the only product hustle on the list, and it is reselling. This one is perfect for the woman who is organized, has an eye for value, and doesn't mind a little packaging tape and postage. Because there are people constantly looking to buy quality goods without paying full price. You could resell pre-loved clothes on Vinted, Depop, or eBay, or you could resell vintage finds from charity shops or car boot sales. Think fashion, think books or home decor, or out of stock or discounted retail items, also known as retail arbitrage, or children's clothing, toys, or school supplies, especially if you're already a parent. But that's not all. Yes, this is an incredible place to start, but there's also luxury resale. Now, this one surprised me. I didn't even know reselling high-end products was a thing until I helped an aunt of mine sell one of her designer bags last year. Clearly, I do not run in those circles, but my curiosity was piqued, so I did what every good recovering overthinker does. I went digging. I found YouTube channels that are dedicated to reviewing pre-loved Chanel's, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, and breaking down resale values like it was the stock markets. I kid you not. And it makes sense. As long as there's life left in it, someone somewhere is willing to give it a second home, and at a very decent price. So do not sleep on this one, ladies. You can resell items on online platforms like Vestiaire or even face to face. I found some places in Knightsbridge in London. Trust me, if you're into luxury items, this one can make a very nice side income for you. Now, because I'm generous and because you've listened or watched to this point, here's a bonus sixth hustle for you: Airbnb and home experience hosting. Now, it's not rocket science, but it is such a gem and it works, especially if you've got a spare room or just the gift of hospitality. And if you do have the gift of hospitality, honestly, I doff my hat to you. I don't know how you guys do it. You don't need a fancy guest house to get started. In fact, I have this relative who turned a space in her home into a charming Airbnb setup. And it's become a bit of a family side gig at this point. Her kids pitch in with cleaning and they make a little, little income for themselves too, which I think is such a positive real world lesson. Team effort, family enterprise, all under one roof. The fun part of Airbnb is it's not just overnight stays anymore. There's actually a whole section dedicated to Airbnb experiences where people host cooking classes, art workshops, walking tours, or even storytelling nights from their home or neighborhood. That is just incredible. I actually read of this woman who is making consistent side income simply teaching Nigerian cooking from her London flat. She provides the ingredients, shared cultural stories, and the guests seem to really love it. This side hustle works especially well if you've got an extra room or inviting space and you enjoy hosting or teaching and you don't mind monetizing or you want to monetize your environment or your culture or your skills in a low pressure way. It is flexible, it is creative, and totally customizable. So, out of these 6 ideas, selling what you know, creating content, tutoring, food catering, reselling pre loved items, and Airbnb, which one calls out to you the most? I want you to take a moment right now. Feel free to pause the video or audio at this point and just have a think. But please don't overthink it. You're not committing to anything right now. You're simply observing what is coming up for you. And if none of what I shared today feels right, that's fine too. Knowing what is possible is also a good place to start and may give you the motivation to go find what does work for you. You might also find that your thing is a variation or a hybrid of ideas, and that's fine too. And if you're still not sure of what idea to start with, then here is a little something that I created that might help. I'll be back in a second.
Hey dreamer, quick pause. If this episode is stirring something in you, but you're not sure how to start, I've got you. Grab my free Dream Activation Kit. It's your first bold step out of confusion and into clarity. Inside, you'll get the Spark session, a guided audio to help you reconnect with what you really want, my Dream Discovery Workbook to map it all out, and Dream Speak, a short affirmation track to boost your belief again. This isn't fluff, my friend. It is fuel and it is completely free. DM me the word dream on Instagram at Hey Tee Ari or head to the link in the show notes. All right, back to the episode.
Welcome back, guys, and do make sure you grab the Dream Activation Kit if you haven't already, as it will definitely give you the jumpstart you need. Now, before we round up today's episode, it's Q&A time. And this question is from Dion, and she asks, how do I grow my business when I can barely find time between work, family, and well, life? Oh, Dion, a very, very valid question. One that I bet is on most of this podcast audience's mind constantly. I can also relate, so please know that you're not alone. I can tell you one thing straight off the bat. You are certainly not unmotivated. You just have a lot on your plate. So, first things first, take a deep breath and release it, either through your mouth or your nose, whichever works best for you. I know how frustrating it can be when it feels like your calendar has been hijacked by everyone else's needs. In those moments, your dream can start to feel like a luxury instead of a priority. But let me lovingly remind you, Dion, your dream is not a luxury. It's a calling. And calling doesn't always show up in ideal conditions. Sometimes it sneaks in into the cracks between dinner and bedtime, during lunch breaks, or even that sacred 25-minute window of silence before the house wakes up. So, how do you grow when time feels tight? Number one, focus on micro moves, not massive leaps. Business growth doesn't need to look like 10-hour hustle days. Most times, it's more like the 10-minute pockets, and they all count. Tiny tasks done consistently beat big plans never started. One email, one post, one pitch, it all adds up. Number two, stop trying to build the business you think you should build. Remember my stand on all this shoulding. Build the one that fits your actual lifestyle, not the fantasy one where you have 40 hours a week and unlimited childcare. Honor your current season and design around it. And lastly, number three, it seems like I'm on a roll with these threes today. Remember, the seed grows underground first. Just because you can't see rapid progress doesn't mean it is not happening. Roots come before shoots. Don't despise the days of little beginnings. You're laying the foundation. So, no, you don't need more time, even though a lot of us will argue that another extra hour will be great. You need strategy and one that respects your time. You need to allow yourself start small and you need to keep showing up, even if it is just for 15 minutes at a time. Hope that helps, Dion. Now, here's our quote for this week to end today's episode. It is from the late tennis legend Arthur Ashe, and it says, "Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can." Be sure to rate, review, or comment if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, and like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube, as this helps our message reach the women who need it the most. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep daring, and keep moving towards your spark.
And that's it for today's episode of Dream in Action. I hope this conversation stirred something in you, maybe a fresh idea, a little more clarity, or just a reminder that your dreams are valid and worth pursuing. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new one. And if you're feeling generous, leaving a review helps people find this podcast. It's like telling the algorithm, hey, this is worth listening to. So if this spoke to you today, and you don't even do any of the other two, please share it with a friend or two. Before we go, let me leave you with one of my favorite Bible verses of all time. Never doubt God's mighty power to work in you and accomplish all this. He will achieve infinitely more than your greatest request, your most unbelievable dream, and exceed your wildest imagination. He will outdo them all, for his miraculous power constantly energizes you. Ephesians 3:20. Until next time, dream wildly, live boldly, and keep going.